Welcome to Be On It, episode 4.
Hey, Jessica, what's going on in the Beehive today?
Hi, Debbie. I was just thinking about food noise and our relationships with food. Everybody has relationships with food, good relationships, good memories, and then relationships that are a struggle. I just wanted to discuss some different things that I go through and things that you may go through.
hmm This is such a humongous topic because I sat down and I thought about it and I wrote something just to ease our way into this topic because this can be a very deep topic. I wrote, I think that this is an interesting journey that we are embarking on, dot, dot, dot. This thinking of processing and evaluating ourselves, we are literally asking why and how. What are we attempting to understand? We are attempting to understand ourselves better. What are the things we do every day and why do we do them? When I thought about food, this is what I reflected upon. And then I felt like this was a good springboard to kind of start the conversation.
We're in a diet culture society, right?
Uh-huh.
For me, I struggle with eating healthier and then not eating so healthy. It's been a struggle I've had all my life, have this food noise. And you and I were talking earlier, and you're like, I don't know what that is. You'd never experienced it. When I looked up the definition. The definition of food noise is an obsessive and impulsive thought or chatter that are constantly mulling about in your brain. It's a disordered eating habit, a feeling like you are constantly battling the narrative surrounding diet culture. For me,
Uh-huh.
I call it food fantasy versus healthy eating. It's like this battle between each other. And
Uh-huh.
when I'm eating healthier, I'm not having this food fantasy or this noise in my head. But
Uh-huh.
when something's slightly off, all of a sudden I'm having fantasies about different food that I'm not able to eat. So because it like affects me health wise. And so I start hearing all this stuff that I've got to try in my head and I've got to eat it and it's like this noise that just won't stop. And other people have experienced it too. My husband experiences it
Yeah.
and it's terrible. You got to quiet it down.
When did this start for you? Because I'll have a
I
lot
think
of
this has
questions.
always been. I just didn't have a name for it. As a kid, I was restricted what I could eat. We grew up in such a culture that what you looked like
Uh-huh.
and how you ate equated with if you were unhealthy versus healthy. And people would use the terrible terms fat versus skinny. Society has programmed people into believing that we need to look a certain way and eat a certain way in order to fit in with social norms. And we're judged when we don't fit into that belief. And so for me, I've always experienced that because I've always been
Mhm.
built differently. I don't believe in creating this restriction in life. I think moderation's key. I think that, you can find healthier solutions too. You have to feed your body nutritiously. That food noise will go away. I find myself when I'm not eating as healthy, those
Yeah.
cravings are just off the charts. That food noise is just ridiculous.
I'm just trying to get to the root. So it started when you were young. The culture around food, you heard that a lot in the house. It was just a very dominant theme in your life as you were growing up.
Oh, definitely. Oh,
And so did you feel like you had to do food a certain way?
like, I remember my mom saying that you can't leave the dinner table until you finish all your food. I've never personally believed in that philosophy. I don't feel like you should have to finish all your food if you don't feel
Want to eat.
hungry. You listen to your body. I feel that generation came from a place of they didn't have a lot, so you eat what's put in front of you. For me, I raised my children. You take a little bit, you try it. If you don't like it, that's okay. Try again later. I'm not going to force you to eat something.
Our parents did come up from a post-war generation. I think scarcity and economy were huge. Food culturally for me is a very big thing. It's very overwhelming. It's almost a burden, I feel. When you were little, the food noise was external and you internalized it.
It became internalized because I would be told, "Oh, you're so pretty. You just need to lose a little bit more weight." I heard it all my life, that constant negative feedback. There were times where I was fit and I'd still hear, "Oh, you need to eat. You're too skinny." So it goes both ways. For example, I was working on being healthier. I heard,
Mhm.
"Oh my God, you look so good. You look like a different person." And I
Mhm.
replied, "I'm the same person. I'm me." And they said, "No, you're not." And they said
Uh-huh.
this in front of a bunch of people that I didn't even know. And I was so mortified. I just quickly changed the subject. But who felt comfortable enough to say that to another human being? They're
Right.
talking about my physical appearance when you can comment on so many other things. How about try saying that I look radiant or that you're smiling brighter? Build me up in a different way. Don't talk about my physical body. When I want to have something, I have it. And that was the problem. I couldn't stop having it. And then I would derail myself from eating healthier. I've, really struggled with staying consistent and staying on top of it and not falling off the rails. For me, I can't just do one little bite of something. Some people can, and sometimes
Yeah.
mentally I can. But
Yeah.
if I have that food noise, I get a little weak and I try something, I'm like, "Oh, just one more day."
Like, it sounds like your parents kind of projected on you what they wanted you to be in terms of physical appearance. I think that's definitely hard for children because they don't have agency at that point in time in their lives. You want kids to develop their own sense of self and make decisions, come to that process of making good decisions for themselves organically. It's like this whole self-imposed thing. It works up to a certain point. I feel like it honestly renders more negative effects than anything. That's what I'm hearing is this self-imposed thinking about food, about physical appearance, and then you've internalized all that.
Oh, definitely. Childhood. That's where it started. Watching my mom take diet pills, even though she was fit, because that's what she watched in society, right? It's like you watch it on TV and, oh, you want to look a certain way and you want to feel a certain way. Well, then you have to do this to achieve that. Well, that's what was programmed into us. And then, people telling you that you have to look this way. So then I see that. I'm a little kid, I'm absorbing that. And then being told in order to do these things, you need to work out so I don't get what they call fat. We grew up in a society where fat versus thin, it's this battle between fat versus thin. And there's this judgment that you're lazy or that you don't have goals because you're overweight.
Yeah, it comes with its own set of like values. Hearing being critical and being judged. I'm also hearing confusion though too. So that's a big bag of stuff to deal with when you're a kid. That helps me to understand how your food noise developed.
Food noise developed because I was restricted. Whenever it was a special occasion, I'd get so excited. Food for me is bringing people together and socializing, laughter and joy. And we'd go to a holiday event, a family reunion, or you go to a friend's house, or it's a barbecue, whatever it may be. There's
Yeah,
usually things
it's
that weren't
positive.
restricted because it was a special
Yeah.
occasion, right?
Uh-huh.
So you would try things, and those weren't the normal things in my household. For one, we didn't have a lot of money. And two, my dad was a very healthy eater, and we had fruits and veggies and a protein, and we ate pretty simplistically. We did not have sugary cereals. We did not have those things growing up. So if I went to a friend's house and they had that, I got to try those things.
Yeah.
So this food noise became this battle of, oh my goodness, I know what that tastes like. I want that too. And I can't have that. And it almost becomes like a rebellion where it's like, I'm going to have that. And so when I became an adult, I had that because I couldn't have it as a kid. Because you restricted me, it was this rebellion that I'm going to try this and I can have this. I'm an adult.
You're not going to deny yourself because you're an adult.
That's where that food noise would come in. Oh, I deserve this. I deserve this
Uh-huh.
reward.
I feel similarly in a way. I don't have the constant food noise. Food is something that I never have denied myself. If I want something, I don't deny myself. I've always let myself have that, and it could be like something sugary because I have a sweet tooth. If I'm thinking about something that sounds good and it's accessible, I won't deny myself. Something that like psychologically, I'm like, oh well, I had a hard day. Like I deserve this. Let me have this frappuccino or whatever it is. It's really just a lot of instant gratification. But I guess that's something that we have in common is when we became adults, we didn't deny the things that we chose to eat.
Our parents weren't deciding what we could eat. We had the choice to try things on our own. Of course, you see commercials as kids, and little kids are susceptible. You want to try those things that you see. When it becomes restricted, that food noise becomes louder for me. I want that. I want to be just
Yeah.
like everybody else. I don't want to be denied those things. And had I been offered those things, I probably wouldn't have had that food noise as much. Probably wouldn't have even cared. I probably
Right.
would have just gravitated to my fruit.
Moderation, like me, every now and again.
Yeah, but they projected, "This is bad for you, you shouldn't eat this," versus, "You have to eat this, and you have to finish your whole plate because this is healthy."
I can see in a young person's mind, well, this is supposed to be bad for me, but it tastes so good. In that moment, it's yummy. I'm going to finish the whole thing. I'm trying to understand the psychological part of why I do the things I do in relation to food as well. In that moment, it's instant gratification. Then I ask myself, why did I do that?
Right, internally that I had to find comfort in food.
Exactly. I'm trying to think about that and understand why I do the things I do by eating this one thing. What did I gain from it? In that moment, it's yummy. I can't deny that the little sensors in your tongue are like, "Oh yeah, this is sweet. This tastes good." Afterwards, I'm thinking to myself, "What did I gain from that? I just spent this much money and I didn't gain anything to benefit me."
Right, sometimes I gain guilt, and then other times
Exactly.
I feel joy and happiness. Let's say it was something that I wanted to try because it reminded me of somebody, and it's something that we
Yeah.
used to do. On a birthday, my grandmother used to, buy German chocolate cake for me every birthday. I can remember because I don't remember my parents when I was little celebrating my birthday when my parents were married, but I
Yeah.
have a few pictures of celebrating my birthday with my grandmother. It was always German chocolate cake from the same grocery store. Cousins being there. It was a big deal
Yeah.
because it's not something I had, like, my parents did
Right.
not do that. That was a core memory, so I just remember, being an adult, seeing a piece of German chocolate cake and having that core memory of my grandmother, lighting the candles and my cousins being nearby, and there's a picture of us, of my cousins all together and me blowing out the candles, so it's a good core memory, so that
Uh-huh.
brings, some joy to me, but then there's those
Uh-huh.
times where you have the guiltiness because you wanted something.
Even as
For
a kid?
me, as a kid, probably not as much. As a teenager, definitely. By watching my mom watch what she eats and her eating healthy and being restricted, and I think it was this subliminal message that if you eat these things can become overweight, and overweight is not good.
Uh-huh.
As I became a teenager and my
Yeah.
body wasn't the same as other people's bodies at the time that I grew up in, if you look like a magazine cover, that was in. There weren't full figure girls out there.
That's genetic.
I
Yeah.
had a butt, I had boobs, I had muscle tone, I worked out, I was very active. It was skinny versus fat. It was always that battle growing up. And I was never plus size as a kid. I
Uh-huh.
wasn't skinny either. I was this in
You're in
between curvy
between.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curvy. And curvy bodies are
Uh,
in now, but they weren't in when I was growing up. And so there was
Yeah.
this subliminal message about, oh my goodness, I don't want to get too far over because then I might not get a boyfriend. There's just this inner dialogue and
Uh,
external dialogue.
well, I have a question. I hear that your mom took diet pills. Was it an internal struggle for her? A certain poundage and then also looking a certain way. Was that her internal struggle?
She liked to look a certain way and dress a certain way, and she liked to attract men. So
Mhm.
she felt she had to do those things. These are not things that her and I've ever talked about, nor
Uh-huh.
will we probably ever talk about because she's got some past traumas and current traumas that
Yeah.
she's, unfortunately never dealt with. But just
Yeah.
from my perspective, definitely she bought into that she had to look a certain way in
Yeah.
order to fit into society or to get a man, and she was very reliant on men. She was her best self when she was independent.
Subliminally, that's kind of the message that was conveyed.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like people who are parenting, especially young kids as they become teenagers. Like we don't want to obviously continue the trauma, the negativity. That's something I think most parents don't want to pass along to their children.
They don't want to, but they do, and I think we have to change diet culture. We have to change it to a more positive phrase. We need to change our language, the way we talk to ourselves and the way we talk about others.
Think about it. This internal food noise. It's kind of like mean, you can consider it like if you were traveling, it's like luggage, it's like baggage that you've been carrying with you for quite a long time when you really get right down to it. If you started having it in childhood, you've been carrying it through adolescence, young adulthood, and into adulthood. How do you how do you turn that off? You think you can turn it off?
I think it's something I live with and that I struggle with. It's like a alcoholic that is no longer drinking alcohol, but it's still an alcoholic, right? For me, I have lifelong food struggle of unhealthy eating versus healthier eating. I've had to really reprogram my thinking because I don't want to be so unhealthy that I develop some health issues, which were starting to happen. And I had to really reevaluate, how does it make me feel? When I eat healthy, I feel so much better. When I'm
Oh, it
eating
ties in.
processed
Yeah.
foods and when I'm
Uh-huh.
eating things that aren't good for my body or that I'm sensitive to, it has bad
Yeah.
side effects. So for me, I had to go, this isn't serving me. They taste good, they're great, but it's not helping me to be healthy and feel good. I'm having these side effects and I don't like these side effects, so I have to do something. And so that's where it started for me.
Yeah, reprogram super important. Also, just acknowledge that that's a lot of psychological stress for a person. And the psychological
Yeah.
stress does wear our physical bodies down. They can work against us. That's a lot to deal with. So just putting it out there.
People don't see that. I think they just judge based off of fat versus
It's
not fat, which
perpetuated.
is a
Yeah,
terrible word, just fat versus
it,
skinny. It's a terrible terminology. People have got to get away from that. It's there's so much more. Being unhealthy
mm-hmm,
involves more psychological. It's a disease. Being overweight is a disease because there's this internal psychological trauma. Most
mm-hmm,
people, if they're not overweight because they want to be, they're overweight because they've tried everything. They don't have that intuition that says, okay, enough is enough. They're stuffing their emotions. You've gotta look at every aspect of it. I think that people are now starting to pay attention to that because we have that realization that it's the whole body, that people don't choose to be that way. It doesn't make them lazy, it doesn't make them less productive, it makes them survivors.
mm-hmm.
They're doing the best that they can, and when you understand that and you get to the root of it and you start
Yeah,
addressing, where did this start from? Where
yeah,
did it begin? And you start healing those traumas, you start to see change.
yeah.
For me, I had to heal some traumas and discover that this was an issue and where did this issue come from? And why has this always been a lifelong battle for me?
Mm-hmm. I told you it is a humongous cultural thing for me. And when I was in Korea for the 2 months that I was there, we're going to feel based on eating. You're going to feel hungry in the morning. You're going to feel full. If you haven't had something to eat for a while, you'll feel hungry again. I feel like the whole 2 months that I was there, I never felt hungry.
Oh,
It was literally being over offered. I'm not going to say forced, but it was like obligated. Yeah, you were obligated to eat something because somebody took the time to make something for you. So you felt obligated to eat it. So for the whole 2 months, I never felt full. I never felt hungry, either full or processing food the whole time. The entire 2 months I was there.
that is very much the Filipino culture I'm familiar with because I have friends that are Filipino. My dad was married to a Filipino woman. You'd go to a party, and if you didn't eat, they were offended. So you
Yeah.
better come hungry. And then you have to
Yeah.
go to the next party because there's not just one party. You got to go to the next party.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't eat, they're offended. So there you go. There's that programming that you better eat because you're going to offend somebody. And a people pleaser doesn't want to offend anybody. So you're going to eat little bits. You're going to overeat and you're not going to listen to your food cues. Finally, I just had to say, this isn't healthy for me. I really appreciate and love that you did this, but
Uh-huh.
I'm full and I cannot eat, but I'll have something to
Yeah.
drink.
It's just the culture is centered around food. When that happens, that's like the noise everywhere is about food. And it's like
Yeah.
I put priority on other things. I mean, food is a priority. We need it to survive. I might put a little bit more priority on like spending time with you or like having a conversation versus eating.
Right. I don't want that to be prominent because it's already prominent in my head. I want it to be in the background. Um, I love food. I love everything about food culture. I
We
love
love
new
our
food
food, right?
experiences.
Yeah.
That is what we have in common. Food does not
Uh-huh.
always love me. So I have to be very careful.
So going back to reprogramming your mind, my relationship with food is different than yours. I still have health goals, right? And I want to play the long game. When I'm playing the long game, I got to be tactical about each and every day. What are some things that you're doing to reprogram yourself?
So this is a work in progress.
Yeah.
Um, this is a constant struggle for me because I get on a good routine for a good month and then derailed. And the first time I decided to be mentally tough, Matt and I were doing it together. We did keto, and that worked short term. I was able to get healthier and I was able to drop some weight to be healthier. Long term, it gave me food noise and this food fantasy. I called it cheating, which is a terrible thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
you got to take those words
we
out.
cheat. Those things that I was craving, we'd go eat in one day. And of course, what happens? It derails you from your, weight loss journey and getting healthier journey because you just
Uh-huh.
ate things all in one day that you shouldn't be eating. That's too many calories when you're trying to be mindful of your calorie and carb intake.
Uh-huh.
For me, I had to reprogram my thinking and think in a healthier manner. For me personally, I do have to count calories and watch what I eat because it affects me. I won't feel good if I eat certain things. So certain things inflame me and then I have more Hashimoto's symptoms. I've discovered, and it took a long time of trial and error figuring out what's right for my body. I learned that a paleo diet works better for me. Am I
Uh-huh.
perfect at it? No. Are there days that I derail? Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
learning to go, you know what? That's okay. Don't feel guilty. Try again. And it's a work in progress. And I
Uh-huh.
have to be kind to myself. I'm really
Yeah.
trying to love myself, not shaming myself, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to be healthier so I feel good. And Matt, he's trying to drop weight to be healthier. Heart disease and diabetes run in his family, and unfortunately, his dad just had a bypass surgery. And you don't want to
Yeah.
continue on a trend that's not healthy that can lead to heart disease. You want to do some preventative things, and so we're just trying to be healthier overall, and we're not perfect. I think, we're in a healthier place. Our focus is to feel good. And when you feel good, it just radiates throughout your whole life. So I've gotten creative with recipes. I don't mind eating the same thing when I have to go to work. I like that dependability. This is what I'm eating for breakfast. It's dinner that I have to get creative with. For whatever
Mm.
reason, that gets a little monotonous eating the same thing 3 days in a row.
Uh-huh.
So I have to just change it up.
Yeah, I have a question for you. If we think of this as a game, just to kind of reframe it in our mind, what kind of mental fortitude do you need to have to play this game?
I have to have the mental toughness. For me, I do small little goals. I don't do this over exaggerated goal for weight loss. I do small goals that I can achieve, small
Uh-huh.
victories. And
Uh-huh.
then I feel pretty good about that. I move on and I reset the goal and I do another small victory. So for me, it's my goal, and I've already won, is reprogramming my thinking
Uh-huh.
and not feeling guilty um if I want to do something different that day.
Okay.
So I'm just
Okay.
learning these things about myself that I never, paid attention to before. So I'm very mindful now
Uh-huh.
of like what my body's feeling. What do I feel when I eat something? Did I overall mentally feel?
Okay.
I learned that doing some natural things, my water is what I drink. Then I drink coconut water or banana water, and that really kind of gives me natural electrolytes. The more hydrated I am, I don't have all these symptoms, and so I
Yeah.
just feel better.
You talking about all this brings up the fact for me, food and the way I go about it, it's a really big test of self-discipline and mental fortitude for me because I've always kind of lived in a way where I didn't deny myself food. The food diary writing has been helpful when I partake in something and then I have a little bit of regret and guilt afterwards and realize, ooh, that didn't serve me in any way, shape, or form, except for that moment that I was chewing it and after I swallowed it, right? For me, I have to tell myself, I'm not going to give in to the dopamine surge from inanimate objects. I will create my own dopamine surge with things that I know that will benefit me and will validate me as a person, not just fulfill this little craving that I have in that moment. That's just something I've been kind of telling myself internally to fight off the craving. It is a very big lesson and practice of self-discipline to not give into the cravings.
Oh, that's what I call food noise. Those
Oh,
cravings are food noise.
okay. See, I don't see it that way. I like if I go into the supermarket and for whatever reason I'm hungry and I see certain food items like Oreos, I have certain snack preferences. I'll buy those things and then I'll bring them home and then I'll see them throughout my day. It's usually when I'm bored. I know that those are the trigger emotions when I'm bored is when I'll go for those things. It's just in my subconscious. It's not loud at all for me, but it's in those quiet moments and I'm bored, I will go and partake in whatever it is that I have on hand.
Right. Food noises, whew, it's rough. When you're eating healthy, it's not there because
Uh,
you're giving your body the nourishment that you need. I had to create my own, food menu, so I knew if I were having those cravings, I had
yeah,
things on hand that were gonna
yeah,
keep me on track so then I didn't feel like garbage from eating things I shouldn't be having.
right. So having some nutritional understanding of that's definitely going to be helpful.
Right, and I don't have a nutrition background, I just have to do a lot of reading on what works for me, not everybody has my exact issues.
I think it was really valuable thinking about all the internal thoughts and the processes that constitute food noise and are behind the decisions that we make and choosing the foods that we consume. I think just bringing it to the forefront of our minds and just kind of understanding the backstory is super helpful. And then from there we can talk about the things and the ways in which we're going to be really tactical about it and strategize our food choices so that we can reach our goals.
Stay tuned next time for our debrief on food.
We are all about community. Join our community by following and subscribing to Be On It through YouTube and Instagram.
And of course, your podcasting platform so we can bring Be On It to you. Just so you know, this is for entertainment purposes only. We are speaking from our lived experiences and are not licensed therapists.